Let's talk about West Asia now. Some big developments were reported there this weekend. Iran tested a satellite launcher. Europe's top diplomat visited Tehran. Iraq's prime minister paid a visit. And now there is talk of a Saudi-Iran summit. It's basically a political roller coaster. And guess who is not enjoying this ride? Israel. They don't even have a proper government, you see. The coalition of Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid have thrown in the towel. They have passed a preliminary vote to dissolve the Knesset, the Israeli parliament. The official declaration could come any day. And what happens after that? Yair Lapid takes over as caretaker prime minister. He will manage the country until elections in October. But there's a big question mark. What if the October poll is also inconclusive? What if nobody gets a majority? Then the crisis will continue in Israel. Now, political uncertainty is bad on most days. But this is the worst possible time. Let's start with what happened on Saturday. Development number one, Europe's top diplomat, Josep Borrell, visited Tehran. He had one job to do, convince Iran to resume the nuclear deal talks. By luck or hard work, he succeeded.
We reaffirmed to Mr. Borrell that we are firstly prepared to resume talks in the coming days. What is important for Iran is to fully receive the economic benefits of the 2015 accord, and anything that can adversely affect this from the point of view of Dr. Raisi's administration and the Islamic Republic of Iran is unacceptable.
The main differences are between Iran and the US. So both sides will be holding indirect talks in Qatar this week. Now, this is a complicated process. Iran and the US will not talk to each other. Instead, they will talk through a third party. In Vienna, it was the European states. This week, it will be Qatar, the mediator. Does this mean the deal is back on track? Well, not yet. Iran has not stopped its nuclear program. They say it's a response to America's quote-unquote illegal moves. So both sides are refusing to blink. Iran won't stop enrichment until a deal is struck. And the US will not repeal sanctions until a deal is struck. It's a question of resolve. And so far, Iran has refused to take a step back. On Sunday, they made another demonstration. Iran tested the Zaljana satellite launcher. On paper, it's a space vehicle, a satellite launcher. But in reality, it can be used as a long-range ballistic launcher. It could even carry nuclear warheads. The launcher weighs 52 tons. It is 25 meters long, and it can carry up to 220 kilograms. 3 tests have been scheduled for this launcher. Sunday was the second one. Now, the White House is not happy with this move. They've called it unhelpful and destabilizing. But perhaps that was Iran's intention to speed things up. Development number 2, the arrival of a mediator. Iraq has been brokering secret talks between Iran and Saudi Arabia. They were secret last year, but now it's really common knowledge. The Iraqi Prime Minister first visited Jeddah. He held talks with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and then he flew to Tehran. He met with Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, so leaving very little to the imagination. The last round of Iran-Saudi talks were held in the month of April, and according to Iran, Saudi Arabia wants more. The kingdom is apparently pushing for more direct talks, and this, by the way, is Iran's version. Saudi Arabia has not responded to these comments yet. The Iranian president also had a message for Israel. You may try to normalize ties with the Arab world, but even that will not bring you security, he said. Listen to this.
The Zionist regime's attempts at normalizing relations with the countries of the region will not bring any security for the Zionist regime.
In this part of the world, we call that a threat. The question is, how will Israel respond? They're counting on joint security. Reports say the US is brokering a defensive alliance in West Asia. They organized a meeting in Egypt recently. Saudi Arabia attended it, along with Israel, Jordan, the UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar. This proposed alliance has one task: to repel Iranian attacks. So West Asia really is pursuing multiple options. Talks on one hand. If those talks fail, joint defense as a backup plan. Basically, they're covering all bases. And this is where Israel will have a disadvantage. Yes, there is multi-partisan agreement on Iran and normalization. All parties there agree on what Israel's policy should be. But how much power can a caretaker prime minister hold? Can he pursue talks with Riyadh? Can he stand up to Iranian threats? The fact is, Israel's instability is not just an internal issue, it has wider implications for West Asia, and not to mention Israel's own national security. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.